This video tutorial covers percentage by mass calculations in chemistry. First question we're going to start off with is what is the percentage by mass of oxygen in 1 mole of sulfur trioxide? So if we have a look, we can obviously work out the mass of 1 mole of sulfur trioxide as we have a formula written here. We can see it's made up of 1 mole of sulfur atoms plus 3 moles of oxygen atoms. We can see this 80 grams is made up of 32 grams of sulfur and 48 grams of oxygen. We could also just work out the mass of oxygen as a separate calculation. So the mass of oxygen in 1 mole of sulfur trioxide will be equal to the mass of 1 mole of oxygen atoms multiplied by the number of moles of oxygen atoms in 1 mole of sulfur trioxide. Looking at the formula, we can see the mass of 1 mole of oxygen is 16, and there are 3 moles of oxygen in 1 mole of a compound, so we have 48 grams. So if we now write our equation down, percentage by mass of oxygen in sulfur trioxide will be equal to the mass of oxygen in 1 mole of a compound divided by the total mass of 1 mole of compound. So 48 grams divided by 80 grams multiplied by 100 gives us 60% by mass of oxygen. Fertilizers often contain nitrogen, which promotes the growth of leaves and vegetation. Based on percentage by mass, would ammonium sulfate or urea be a better fertilizer for soil deficient in nitrogen? So, firstly, we could work out percentage by mass of nitrogen in ammonium sulfate. Stage 1 is to work out the mass of 1 mole of ammonium sulfate. Noting here with the formula that it consists of 2 moles of nitrogen atoms, 8 moles of hydrogen atoms, 1 mole of sulfur atoms, and 4 moles of oxygen atoms. The amount of nitrogen per mole of ammonium sulfate will be equal to 2 times N, so it will contain 28 grams of nitrogen. Percentage by mass of nitrogen in 1 mole of ammonium sulfate will equal to the mass of nitrogen in 1 mole of a compound, 28 grams, divided by the total mass of 1 mole of ammonium sulfate, 132 grams, times it by 100 to get it to a percentage, and it consists of 21.2% nitrogen. Carrying out the same calculation for urea, we will work out the mass of 1 mole of urea. And why don't you pause the video at this point and see if you get the same answer as I calculate. Mass of 1 mole of urea consists of 1 mole of carbon atoms, 1 mole of oxygen atoms, and NH2, the mass of 1 mole of NH2 times 2 because it's in brackets, giving us a total mass of 60 grams. Mass of nitrogen, we can see there's 2 outside brackets here, so there will be 2 moles of nitrogen per mole of urea, giving us 28 grams out of 60 grams being nitrogen. So percentage by mass of nitrogen is equal to the mass of nitrogen in 1 mole of a compound, divided by the mass of 1 mole of a compound, times by 100 to convert it to a percentage, giving us a percentage by mass of 46.7%. So we can see urea has a higher percentage of nitrogen per mole of compound. The other thing to say about this would be if you were answering this as a question, you should say urea is a better fertilizer because it's a higher percentage. So you need to make sure this sort of question you would put a comparison in. Pause the video and try attempting the following question. What is the percentage by mass of oxygen in sodium hydroxide? Firstly, we need to work out the mass of 1 mole of sodium hydroxide. Secondly, we need to work out the mass of oxygen in 1 mole of sodium hydroxide. And now we need to work out what percentage 16 grams is of 40 grams. So the percentage by mass of oxygen is equal to the mass of oxygen in 1 mole of sodium hydroxide, 16 grams, divided by the mass of 1 mole of sodium hydroxide, times by 100 to get a percentage. So it consists of 40% oxygen. Pause the video and try the following question. What is the percentage by mass of oxygen in magnesium hydroxide? Stage 1, we need to work out the mass of 1 mole of magnesium hydroxide. Stage 2, we need to work out the mass of oxygen in 1 mole of magnesium hydroxide. Taking note that the 2 means there are 2 moles of oxygen atoms per mole of magnesium hydroxide. What is the percentage mass of oxygen in 1 mole of magnesium hydroxide? So it will be 32 grams divided by 58 grams times by 100 to convert it to a percentage. And we find it consists of 55.2% oxygen by mass to 3 significant figures.